everyone, welcome back to the Day One podcast. I'm Adam Daly. I hope this episode finds you well. I know it's been a little while since I've released one, but I found some time this weekend to record some thoughts and some updates that we're working on right now. So I wanted to release this episode and get it out to you. I want to say, apologize to a certain degree that these haven't been coming out as frequently. Hope you're all understanding is things are crazy right now in the world, and we're all doing our best to cope and get by. So the Day One team is well. We're doing our best, mostly working remotely. Certainly has its challenges, but we're still working on improvements, bug fixes, and things are moving. One of the great benefits we had a couple weeks ago was watching and participating in the Worldwide Developers Conference from Apple. We all watched the keynote together, and our engineers were able to watch many of the individual sessions to get ready for new updates that are coming out this fall with iOS 14 and Mac OS 11, right? Big Sur. So great things that are coming down the pipeline that we'll be able to take advantage of as we get closer to those releases. And there's some cool stuff. We're excited. We're excited to start incorporating those in Day One and taking it up, matching that level of excellence for software. So, and some of the great parts of that were our engineers were able to schedule time with Apple employees, some one-on-one time to enhance their understanding of some of these new updates and how we can use them for Day One. So that was a really cool thing that we were able to do, because not everybody goes to WWDC, as there's kind of a lottery system going on for the tickets and whatnot, and but being able to take those courses and have individual scheduled time with the engineers was fantastic. So we're grateful for that and excited to get working on those things. If you have installed the betas per your own personal choice, please keep in mind we're not doing those updates until later as we get closer to the public release. That's been pretty typical for us as far as those go. And then we try to coincide an update that supports the new operating systems right as those go live. So stay tuned. We're excited, and thank you for your feedback. As far as updates coming to Day One, sooner than the fall with the new operating systems, we're working on big updates coming to the activity feed and day view. Those are in the works right now, and they're looking really great. I think you're going to like this. It's fantastic. It's a great way to start your journaling or to review days, and stay tuned. When that goes live, I will have a help guide on help.dayoneapp.com to describe the different functionalities in that feature, so be aware of that. I'll include a link when I put it on the release notes on help.dayoneapp.com so you can see. And I'm working on screenshots. I've had screenshots, but then there will be some changes, and then I have to go back and redo them. So I'm holding off just yet until we're much closer, and then I'll get that help guide up there as the feature goes live. And that should be later this month. That's what we're working on. We're also still working on book printing fixes and updates. And I know this is a big feature for a lot of people, and some people choose to use Day One over other apps because of this feature, and that is feedback we definitely hear. We want to keep updating this. If you've been around with Day One long enough, when this was first launched, and technically we are still in that first iteration of this feature. So one of the biggest parts of this project, as I've mentioned before, are the new layouts for the books and also PDF exports. It's one of the bigger projects that we have, and working with different media types for the layouts, it complicates it. So we're working on it. It's taking, the time it takes because it is a bigger project. We still hope to have it ready by the end of summer 2020, and then we'll keep working on the other bugs that some users have encountered with book printing, because we love this feature and we love seeing what users have done to preserve their memories. I've got some books on my shelf, and I'm excited to show them to people or pass them on when that time comes. So thank you for your patience as we continue to work on this project. Also, I do get a lot of questions about Android and our web app. I still don't have ETAs on these yet, but they're still on the roadmap, I reassure you. Both things that we want to do. Obviously, Android is a great market, and we want to have a better experience than, because there are some known issues with our Android app right now, some compatibility issues between iOS and Android, or Mac and Android. We're still planning on resolving all of those and having a much better experience there, and also a web app. If you don't have a Mac computer and you want to write long-form entries and are a premium subscriber, we do have that email feature as a workaround for now. You can send an email to Day One, specific journals, and it will create an entry. So that is a possible workaround for you if you do not have a Macintosh computer and want to write more long-form entries. But we are still planning on that web app. Just we'll keep working on it. And those are the couple of big things that we're working on right now. Obviously, more fixes to other things that are coming. Thank you for your reports that you've submitted and all of your feedback. We're really appreciative of that. We want this to be a great journaling app for you, to preserve your memories, to document your lives. And I personally have found a great benefit from doing all of this, especially, going back and seeing on this day. I know I've mentioned that with guests we've had on the show. My favorite feature is always on this day because I can reflect and see what happened in the past few years. I was reminded that 3 years ago we had a fun family reunion up in the canyon, and it was a great time, and it was fun to look back at those pictures, much younger selves, for at least our kids who have grown up like they're just growing like vegetables in a healthy garden, I guess. I was going to say weeds, but I don't want to call my kids weeds. Anyway. Daily prompts. I know this has been a really cool feature, and I guess sometimes as the support person at Day One, or one of them, I get surprised sometimes when certain features get feedback, I guess. I knew daily prompts was going to be excited. We've had a lot of requests about it. Having something to get you started in your journal. It's a nice way to get those juices flowing. And we've had a lot of positive responses to the daily prompts. So thank you for those. And we've also had feedback about, can I add my own, or pull them in from different sources. Certainly things that we're looking at, and we've put them on our feature request list. So thank you for your feedback on those. I hope those have been helpful for you, and I know they have for some, because sometimes when there's a like a sync issue or something and they don't appear, we hear about it because people want to see those daily prompts. So it's definitely something that I think people have found a lot of value in, and we appreciate that feedback. Lastly, this is just going to be a short update. I hope you don't mind. Life's been crazy, with everything that's going on, and we're trying to be safe, keep each other safe, keep each other's families safe by mostly working remotely, and certainly that has its challenges. And, a lot of us have children at home, or school-aged children, and, if a spouse is working as well, it's just complicated. And I know there are others in different situations where, people have been furloughed from their jobs, and man, it's just so complicated, and I'm trying to wrap my brain around everything that's going on. So if you don't mind, I'm going to express some personal feelings. These do not reflect those of the company Day One or any of our, I guess we don't really have affiliates, but these are just my personal feelings. And I hope the conveyance of these is helpful to you in some degree. Things are complicated right now. We've got a global pandemic. We've got political campaigns. And honestly, it's been a little hard to be positive lately. And maybe some of you have felt the same way. Here I am. I'm sitting at home. I'm recording this on the 4th of July weekend. And I got to be honest, I'm having a little bit of a hard time getting excited about celebrating. You know what I mean? It's not like I don't value where I live and democracy and stuff like that, but I feel like we have plenty of opportunities to improve in a lot of different facets. Thankfully, I do want to say that journaling has been helpful for me to process my emotions. And it's not perfect, but it's been helpful to express frustration or fear or sadness, or those moments of joy when I get to capture a water gun fight in the middle of the day. Definitely ups and downs. And this isn't a way for me to try to capitalize on the precarious situations for Day One's gain. That's not what I'm trying to do here, but I guess I'm just trying to say I hope we do a better job at taking care of each other. at looking at the situation that we're in now and going and taking an evaluation. How can I do better? How can we do better as a group, as a society, a culture, a country, as a global community? How can we do better at taking care of each other? I was watching Hamilton on Disney Plus, like many of you, this weekend, and this episode is not sponsored by Disney Plus, but if they wanted to send me some swag, that's fine. But I was watching Hamilton this weekend, and a few things struck a chord with me, if you will. There's this one line that really has been speaking to me this year. The world has turned upside down. It was crazy to have my kids in school one day, and then later that day, they were excused for the rest of the year. There were some dates, but then those dates kept getting pushed back. And, as I'm reading the news and different updates locally, like what is it going to look like going back to school, all that kind of stuff. When will we start going back to work? And some of you have, it's all different for different people and different industries and stuff like that. So it's hard to imagine what it will look like. And maybe there is no one right answer. Maybe there's going to be a lot of accommodations and circumstances that are going to change, maybe indefinitely, and that's going to be interesting. But yeah, I felt that the world turned upside down. Like I felt that this weekend after hearing that line. And then the other one that always strikes me, and I love this musical, so forgive my indulgence, but there's a line near the end, and it's in a couple of different parts, where it says, "You have no control who lives, who dies, who tells your story." And I found that the pandemic, honestly, and the shutdowns in many locations have helped me learn to appreciate those in my life a lot more. I know I mentioned on a previous podcast episode that my father passed away last November, and it was sudden. It was a complete surprise. Like I was texting him literally hours before. You never know when that last time may be. And so I've really tried, and some of you may have experienced this with a loved one. So I'm trying to dedicate more of my time to those I love. Time is such a precious and sometimes underappreciated resource. And it's something we can't replenish. So, without sounding like a TED Talk here, I guess my my hope is that we'll do better at loving fiercely and show our love by how we spend our time. Lastly, on that note, too, you can, to some degree, control who tells your story. Document it. Write it down. Use day one. Use a paper and pen. I was speaking to my kids, and I asked them, I said, you should write down what is going on from your perspective. Like, what are you going through? What are you feeling? What's happening? And I think those words will prove valuable later on for their descendants or others. And that's my hope. It really is. So yeah, I hope everybody's doing the best they can. I want you to know that we're certainly thinking, trying to do our best, thinking outside of ourselves, thinking of you, our users. Obviously, we're so grateful for the support from our day one users. Thank you. Thank you for your feedback, for your bug reports, etc., your feature requests. We love day one. We love journaling, and we find that this is a very cool space to be in, one that I think is beneficial to people for mental health, for gratitude, for for documenting just what's going on. I think that's fantastic. We love it, and we plan to keep going as long as possible, and that is made possible by you. I hope you have a safe week. Continue to be safe. And as always, if you need any assistance from the Day One team, you can hit us up in the links below through our help guides or through our support channels. Thanks, everyone.